There we go. Yay. All right. So that's what we're going to cover today. 10 pounds down. Quick overview of the program, focus on live coaching. And if you're on Facebook and you're trying to figure out why I'm ignoring you, it's because we are on Zoom. So that's where the main party is. Oh, I should have warned you, Sabrina. Trigger warning. Sabrina does not like this donut picture. She's like, that donut picture was giving me ideas for how to run my life in a way that I did not appreciate. As I was putting this in there, I was like, I got to warn Sabrina because I think she's coming. So, all right, let's kind of start with where you may be now. And obviously, you know, this is not everybody, but these are real kind of before comments that came with or came from clients that I'm working with now. And this is definitely where I kind of was before, right? So thoughts like, I want to lose weight, but I'm not. I can't control myself. I have a commitment problem. One of my clients, the main thought she kind of came with as her current, you know, focus in terms of diet and weight is, I like Snickers. Now, I like Snickers too. That's probably my favorite like American candy bar. But if that's kind of like how you're running your life, it might be a problem, right? And a lot of times these thoughts that are kind of running our habits and our diet, they're invisible to us until we start kind of talking to them, bringing them up, and have somebody point out like, it's probably not going to get you where you want to go. All right. And then how do we feel about it, right? Because our thoughts create our feelings. So when we're thinking things like, I can't control myself, I just, you know, anytime there's donuts in the break room, I have to have one. Anytime there's a birthday, I have to have a piece of cake. How do we feel? You know, how do those thoughts make us feel? Usually it's things like guilty, ashamed, depressed, discouraged, conflicted, fearful. And again, right, like now that everybody's really depressed, sorry, I'm going to cheer you up in a second, but it's really obvious with those kind of thoughts and those kind of feelings, we're not in the right place to change our behaviors and to do the kind of things that are going to help us lose weight. So I can definitely relate to all of this. I'll get a little bit more into my story shortly, but what I have found and what I believe the answer is, it's not a new supplement that your friend's MLM is selling. It's not the new best-selling diet book, because all of those things, you know, may or may not be healthy, may or may not work. But if you can't get yourself to implement the new habits that go with eating the way that's in the diet book, then it doesn't matter like all the wisdom that's in the diet book. If you can't figure out how to apply it to your life and your situation, it's not doing you any good. So in my opinion, it's your habits, three things: your habits, your hormones, and how your brain works. Those are the things that get us into trouble with weight. And those are the things that if we can shift them and start to change them, then the weight loss just becomes a natural consequence of changing those things. My belief is that any woman can lose weight by following my 10 pounds down program, because it helps you create habits that work with your hormones and how your brain works so that you can lose weight naturally, right? So it's this combination, and I'll talk about this more later, but it's, you know, our thoughts lead to our feelings, which drive our actions, which create our results. And said differently, it's who we're being that drives what we're doing, that drives what we have in the world, right? So it's backwards from what we all think. We think, you know, and what you're eating, you know, getting some healthy movement in, all of that is really good for you. There's plenty of non-weight loss reasons to do that for yourself as well. But at the end of the day, what really is driving your results is your habitual behavior that you can't even see, right? It becomes completely invisible to us because it's just the way we live. It's unconscious. All right, so who I am, I think a lot of y'all know me, but not everybody knows me well. I am, and let me make sure, I don't know if you guys can see this before picture because it's kind of under the the little faces, at least for my view. And I want you guys to see it. Now, I will say it right up front. That is a particularly unflattering picture. So this is not how I looked every day at my heaviest, but it is a real picture. And, I'm pretty open and transparent. If you go back through my Facebook feed, you can see and you can tell, okay, that's an especially bad picture. She didn't look that terrible every day. But I did. I weighed over 200 pounds. I was a size 16 occasionally, usually a 14. I'm a size 8 now. And some people will look at this after picture and say, she looks worse than my before picture. And that's okay too, right? Because the same techniques work. Your starting weight may be lower than my ending weight. You may want to add in a lot of fitness and exercise and build some muscle. But the piece that's really important is, how do we create the good habits? How do we stop the bad habits? And then how do we work with our body in terms of hormones instead of against our body? And how do we use our mind to support us and not sabotage us? So just me personally, I'm really fascinated with the root cause. Even when I go to the doctor, they're like, oh, you have this thing, you should take this pill. I'm like, whoa. Why do I have the thing? I'm happy to take the pill like short term as a tactic, but I want to know why I have the thing. I want to know what caused the thing. I want to know how to get rid of the thing so that I can stop taking the pill. And usually the doctor's like, yeah, we don't do that here. Just take the pill and go away. So I've always been that way. I want to know what the root cause is. And I'm also really fascinated with behavior change, because for me, and I think I'm probably not the only one, it's hard to change our behavior. It's hard to stop a bad habit. It's hard to start and to continue and to keep up with a good habit. But once you can do that, then you just get the results naturally, right? Like nobody goes to the gym once and gets muscly. Nobody eats cake once and becomes overweight. Those little one-offs don't really matter. It's what we're doing, 95, 98% of the time that's really going to shape our behavior. I've got one client who just she came in a little bit fighty. She's like, just so you know, this Tuesday's my birthday. I am having cake. I was like, you are totally allowed to have cake on your birthday, but remember, your birthday is once a year, right? 364 other days of the year are somebody else's birthday. So, and she's in San Antonio, and it's kind of a party town. So she had just told me, like, I have to go to Fiesta. It's only once a year, and we missed it last year because of COVID. I have to go to this party because my friend is having it. I have to go to this music festival. Like, if every 7 to 10 days there's a reason to overeat, then maybe we need to break the association between celebrating equals overeating. So anyway, so as far as my training, I am a certified coach through the Life Coach School founded by Brooke Castillo, who started her career as a weight coach. And I actually signed up for that training. I've been a coach since 2018. I've done other programs. So I just signed up for that training to increase my skills as a coach. But then once we got access to materials, I was like, let me just go through this weight stuff, see what's in there. It's probably not going to work, but whatever. And started implementing a lot of the things that she taught and started seeing results. And people started seeing me and they were like, what are you doing? Like, okay, maybe we need to coach people on weight. This seems to be something people are interested in. And I have lost a total, like from the worst case scenario picture that you're seeing there, I've lost 50 pounds. Now, not all of that was as a result of the Life Coach School. I lost about 15 pounds when I moved to Florida, but then some of it came back with the pandemic snacking. So total of 50 pounds down from my highest weight. So why does this work? And I kind of alluded to this earlier. In my opinion, for weight loss to be easy, natural, and permanent, you have to change first who you're being, then what you're doing, then you get your result. So your weight is actually a lagging indicator of your thinking. And I can tell, it's really funny. I haven't figured out exactly what the tipping point is, what happens to people, but all the clients that I've run through the program between week 6 and week 8 they come in and they've had like a personality transplant, right? So the week before, it's so hard. I can't do this. I just really like food. It's like, it's so sad. And then they'll come back the next week and they're like, yeah, everything's good. I'm drinking a lot of water. I started walking the dog. I signed up for a Pilates class. I decided I don't really need breakfast because I'm not hungry in the morning. I decided I really like vegetables. I'm like, what happens? But as soon as that shift happens, I know we're just like in maintenance mode now, right? So at that point, they usually haven't seen any weight loss because even though we've been working together a couple of weeks, they haven't really made any behavior changes. But as soon as that mental change sets in, the behavior changes start. And then it's just a matter of watching for it to show up. So it shows up first in the mindset and the attitude, and then in the behavior. And then from the behavior, the weight. And it usually starts with how things are fitting, maybe not even the scale. But if you just kind of keep that in mind, once you get your sort of beingness on track, then the weight loss will follow. All right. So I'm looking for a volunteer from our audience. Let me stop sharing to do some live coaching. I had a Spanish teacher who used to say, volunteer or victim. So Jane, I see you unmuted yourself. Are you willing to be our first volunteer?
Sure, for sure.
Yay, fantastic. All right, tell me what's going on with your weight situation. What did you want to get coached on today?
Okay, so I have a vacation coming up next week. And so been doing a really good job with protocol and working out all these things, but I'm a little apprehensive about going into the vacation where everything will be a little different. Sometimes we'll be at the house that we've rented with a kitchen. Sometimes we'll be eating out, just like being active isn't so much of an issue as just kind of finding it more difficult to plan. So.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're thinking about this vacation coming up. You want to make sure you stay on track. And your main sort of feeling about the vacation is apprehensive.
Yeah. A little uncertain.
Okay. So what thought specifically about the upcoming vacation do you think is making you feel apprehensive?
I think I'm walking into it saying like, I'm going to make the best possible decisions. But I also know myself enough to know that one little thing here or there kind of can derail my thinking that, oh, I'm totally on track and, oh, I've totally messed it up. And that like is a really dangerous place because then I just kind of like scrap it. And so I'm not interested in that.
Gotcha. So you've got this pattern from past health attempts of everything's going along and then something happens and then it's like throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like,
yeah. Like, oh, that looks good. I think I'll have a bite of that. And then I'm like, oh, I already had a bite of that. And
so I might as well eat the whole thing because the diet is ruined.
It's more like, I'm just not doing very good. I guess I'm not really going to be able to do this. And then it's kind of this downward spiral instead of like, that was just a bite. That was great. I'm on vacation, I kind of forget the good that's happening.
Gotcha. Okay. So imagine yourself kind of on vacation. Your thought is one little thing, or let's say one little bite can derail me. Feeling is apprehensive. What kind of actions might that fear drive?
Well, it actually is like, it's kind of like a release to like, oh, I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm on vacation. I'm not even going to worry about it. And I know that's another thought, but it's like that kind of like, now what do I really want on the menu and that kind of thing,
Okay.
And it would just like open it up to looking at different kinds of things that I wouldn't easily even be like making available to myself.
Okay. So you're just kind of not even worrying about making healthy choices, ordering something, ordering what you want rather than the healthy choices that you've normally making.
Or like what sounds good in the moment, like,
yeah,
something I wouldn't usually choose.
Okay. So that's what you're doing. What are you not doing in that scenario?
Probably stop tracking, probably stop like planning ahead, probably stop like looking at what the day was, or like paying attention to like where I was in the moment and what I was, how that shift happened. Probably
Gotcha.
wasn't checking like what I was thinking about,
Okay.
or what I truly want.
Yeah. Okay. So you probably, when you have that thought, one little bite can derail me, you're kind of failing ahead of
Yeah.
time. You're feeling
Yeah.
apprehensive. So you're just not even worrying
Yeah.
about trying to make healthy
Yeah.
choices, ordering what you want instead of the healthier
Yeah.
options that are available, going with what
Yeah.
sounds good in the moment. You're not tracking, you're not planning, you're not
Yeah.
being mindful about what choices you do make. And so,
Yeah.
of course, we can see the result is one
Yeah.
little bite has derailed you, but
It can derail. Yeah.
it you haven't even had it yet. You're kind of pre-derailing yourself. You're planning to be derailed.
Getting coached on it is kind of awesome, because I'd rather be derailed right here than like wait until Tuesday next week. And I'm like, oh my God, this just stinks. And then I
Right.
feel
Well,
bad
and
about the vacation.
the object of the game obviously is not to make you like just go off your healthy eating plan today because you know you're going to
No,
screw it up on vacation anyway.
no, it's just helpful to talk through it, you know,
Yeah, because really a vacation could just be your normal life in a different, like,
location.
yeah, you just sleep and shower someplace else, but you
Yeah.
still like, if you have a habit of having salad at lunch, you could
Yeah.
still have a salad for lunch. You don't have
Yeah.
to throw everything out of the window because you're
Yeah.
sleeping someplace different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. A little tricky to do, but it does make sense. So, can you kind of see how the problem is not really so much the vacation? It's that, kind of thought of one little bite can derail me. So, I might as well go
Hmm.
ahead and just derail myself for the whole vacation. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Hmm.
Yeah. So, is
Yeah.
that helpful?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, it is actually.
what do you think you might do differently in sort of thinking about the upcoming vacation now that we've talked through it?
Well, I'm going to focus on the things that are part of like my habits that are easier on vacation, like probably like a lot of walking on vacation and things like that. And then I'm going to like try to like, I guess, minimize. Oh, did I get stuck?
Nope.
Can you hear
Nope.
me
You're
okay?
okay. Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, and then I'm just gonna like try to minimize the idea of those meals. I'm just gonna look for, the healthy options that sound the best. So I'm also like eating how I want, but like actually getting what I want, instead of like, oh, like listening to you say back to me, like, instead of choosing a healthy option, you choose what you really want. Well, what I really want is not to be like just going off the rails. So thinking about like, oh, this is what I really want, and it also fits my plan. So
Right.
that kind of thinking is helpful. Like, instead of thinking like apprehensive or feeling kind of apprehensive, it makes me kind of get excited.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the Spice Girls, right? Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. What you want in the moment is like the
Hmm.
thing with all the creamy sauce, but what you really, really want long
Yeah.
term is the weight loss. So
Yeah, for sure.
it's
Yeah.
all the wisdom of the world is in the Spice Girls, right? All
Funny.
right. So we can still have that same circumstance of vacation, but if we're changing our actions, we're going to focus on walking, we're going to look for healthy options. What would the thought be that you think you would need to kind of hold to keep you focused on making those healthy choices?
Well, ironically, it's kind of like I can have whatever I want. Like, I can have whatever I want, but this is what I'm going to choose.
Mm, yeah, I can have whatever I want, and what I want is the long-term weight loss, not the short-term
Yeah.
satisfaction.
Yeah.
So, how would you need to be, or how would you be feeling if you're thinking that thought, I can have what I want, and what I want is weight loss? How would that make you feel?
Well, it's in control.
That's a good one. Right. So you're on vacation, you're thinking I can have what I want, and what I want to be healthy, stick with the weight
Mhm.
loss. I'm feeling in control, focused on walking, looking for healthy options. And so the result is you're much more likely to get what you want,
Yeah.
which is the weight loss.
Yeah. And feel good, because when I have something that looks good in the moment, usually I end up kind of paying for it later. And then I probably don't want to go walking, or I probably don't end up enjoying the vacation as much. And so, like, you know, planning ahead helps with that.
Yeah.
Like when I get excited, like that salad looks delicious. Like I am so excited about their whatever,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's so true because usually if you eat something, I know for me, like if you eat something really heavy, then you don't feel like
yeah,
walking afterwards, especially when it's hot. I assume, where are you going on vacation?
California.
Yeah. So well, it
Yeah.
might not be that hot compared to where you are. Are you going to be close to the coast?
Yeah, we're gonna go to San Francisco and then up to the redwood forest. So,
Okay. Yeah. But
mhm,
still, you're not going to feel like hiking in the redwoods if you've got like a big, like,
right.
steak
Pasta.
with cream
Yeah,
sauce and lobster topping
yeah,
and yeah, pasta.
yeah.
Talking about all the things I tried. I did a really intense boot camp for a while when I lived in Atlanta, and I did lose some weight, but I think the biggest reason is because it was after work. And I knew
Mm,
if I ate something heavy for lunch that I would feel ill.
mhm.
And then afterwards, I was like so gross and so hot and so tired. I didn't
Mhm,
really feel like eating anything heavy either. So
mhm,
whatever works. But yeah, I think that's a really good example of how powerful our thoughts are. You had
mhm.
kind of, before we talked through it, you were kind of already planning on, and to some degree, right? If you're healthy all year long and you want to go crazy on vacation, it's your business. But you and I
Mhm,
have talked before, and I know weight loss is really a focus for you. So,
mhm,
to have that whole setback and be kind of
mhm.
starting over, that's not going to be what you really,
Right. For
right?
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've definitely talked before too about that planning brain that wants what's best for you long term. And
Yeah.
in the moment, the primitive brain has all kinds of other ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it also just makes me feel more confident about in the moment, I will make a good choice and I will let the little, what looks like good for just one bite. I kind of know like that's just going to make me want another bite, but it's not really what I want. And
Yeah.
so, then like that planning really becomes like a part of the habits that help to support the going on an awesome vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay. All right. Fantastic. Enjoy yourself. It's going to be
Thanks.
beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks.
So, anybody else from the audience want to volunteer or victim for some coaching? I see you smiling, Sabrina. Do you want to come on and get coached?
About it. Hi everyone. So I guess my Jane, you're so right. If you saw me nodding, you are having definitely those same feelings that I have. So how do we jump back in? Because when our mind starts feeding us those thoughts, those distractions, those I'm not giving up, but it's vacation. I just want to enjoy myself. I just do. And so how do we jump back in? Or I guess for me, and we've talked on this too, when my schedule, like work is a scheduled routine, the way to day to day. So that's
Mhm.
cool. But what happens when your schedule changes? Life happens, and how do we get back on track?
Gotcha. Okay. Do you have a specific example of something that happened recently?
Um, so I had an appointment to take my uncle to an appointment. I guess I had
Mhm.
a duty or assignment. I don't know which one. So I took my uncle to an appointment,
Mhm.
and of course that my entire day was just totally not what I expected it to be.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I was away from I was away from my work schedule, which I had things routine. and I was away from everything that I could reach out to eat. I mean, I know I didn't plan, but I wasn't planning on being out all day, away from the house all day. So it just happened. Just my schedule went so away from the norm. And then, of course, fed in the next day. And I've already messed up. What do I do now? So that's kind of it. When the routine changes and just got to get back on track.
Okay. So kind of our incident was your schedule got messed up.
Right.
And then the thought was, I've already messed up. And then how does that thought make you feel? I've already messed up.
I guess not great, because this is something I really want to do. I have a desire to, there's accountability there, and I want to continue. I tell people all the time, I'm the best starter ever. I got a starter kit. I just start.
Yeah.
I can start anything, but being consistent just kind of gets in the way of stuff. So because I really want to do this, it made me feel a little bad, and I do want to get back on track. So although I feel bad, I still have a desire to.
Gotcha. All right. And let's get a little bit more specific on the other day. So your schedule got messed up. You thought, I've already messed up. You felt bad. And then what did you do? Was there some like fast food?
Yes, I had choices because I went to a place that I normally I don't go on a regular basis, but I used to as a kid.
Okay.
So there was several different things that of course are, like if you go to a place, you have those favorite stops. So I had two favorite stops that I really, really love. And I did choose one instead of both.
Okay. So, yeah. So it wasn't a total disaster, but yeah.
Right,
okay.
right. So although, and that was a little bit of my victory, but again, my whole day was just like, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I didn't do this. But I did one, I did choose one of my two.
Yeah. So the food stop, was it a place where there just were no healthy options?
Not this place. It's chicken. It's fried chicken. They don't do bake. So I was craving that specific type of chicken, and the other spot was ice cream, and I love ice cream. That's my weakness. But because I chose chicken, I didn't feel too bad when I passed by. I probably avoided passing by there. No, I couldn't. I had to go by there. But I didn't feel really bad when I drove by the ice cream spot.
All right. So what you did from that thought of I've already messed up, you stopped and got fried chicken. Were there any like sides, like some biscuits or macaroni and cheese? Just the chicken.
Just chicken.
And as far as things you were not doing, it sounds like you were not going to a different restaurant that had healthy options, right?
Right. Correct.
Anything else you were not doing?
Drinking my water.
Okay.
And that's because I was on the road. And the road that I traveled was very 50 miles to the next rest area.
some logistical concerns with restroom availability. I got you.
That was out the question.
All right. Anything else you were not doing? Did you have like maybe some plans that day to exercise when you got home? Did those get messed up as well? Anything else?
I guess everything just kind of messed up because I was literally gone all day, like all day. So everything that I had planned, and I can't remember what they were, but of course I wasn't at home until dark. I was tired by the time I got home. So it's just like, okay, this day is gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
This day is gone.
But which does, occasionally happen, but it's interesting because then it spilled over into the next day too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what did you do the next day?
I didn't plan to eat.
To eat healthy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Didn't plan.
Okay. And did that day's exercise get messed up too?
Pretty much.
Yep. Yep. So now we've got like this vicious cycle going on. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Spiraling on down.
So as a result, we're getting more of the messed up.
Correct.
Right? We get the messed up cycle going. But do you see how, right? Because, and again, right, this is real life. Sometimes there's just like a crazy day, a fail. Sometimes things are unavoidable. I'm not going to encourage you to stop on the side of the road to go to the bathroom.
Right.
Like you have like a close encounter with a deer or something.
Right.
But you see how when you had that thought of I've already messed up, then you just got more and more of the messed up. So it wasn't necessarily taking the uncle to the appointment and that taking longer than you expected. It was the thought of I've already messed up, so I might as well have the chicken and mess up again tomorrow. And right. So it's that thought. Whereas you could have and this is, I think, to answer your question, we have to kind of interrupt that thought model, right? Because we're going from what happened to the thought, to the feeling, to the action, to the result. And then you just got caught in like that loop there of the negative action. So we do have the option of we can interrupt that model. And once you have the awareness of, okay, well, what am I thinking here? What's going on? And once you realize like, I've already messed up, I feel bad, we can pause right there and say, I have messed up and I do feel bad. And now we're done. Right? Kind of draw a line in the sand, right? And you just restart. So can you think of a thought that you could have had somewhere along the line? And maybe it's now. I don't know how long the mess up has been going. I'm not going to call you out publicly, but what would be a thought, right? Like kind of if we take everything that happened and make that the circumstance, given everything that's gone down, how could you think about that would help you do what you want to do going forward?
I don't know.
What would you do with one of those grandbabies if they messed something up or they weren't figuring out how to walk? You're like, I don't know. I just don't think he's got it in him.
I guess, wow. I'm sorry. Look, something just happened. Like one of my mottos is monitor and adjust. We monitor and we adjust. And I didn't apply that to me. I tell everybody else, but I didn't apply that to me. So now is the time for me. I've been monitoring because that's why I feel bad. That's why I know the things I haven't done right. So now it's time to adjust.
Yeah.
Time to adjust.
Yeah.
And that adjustment is to, I guess, not just think it, but do it.
Mm-hmm. And just like you would with a little, with the little toddler of like, oh, hey, so we don't actually play with matches.
Right.
It's like a hard no. We're
Right.
not doing the fried chicken right now.
Right.
So like the small fire you did start, nothing we could do about that. But we're going to
Right.
take the matches away. We're going to step away from the
Correct.
fast food drive
Correct.
through. Yeah.
And that is something that I try to do, is not even have the things that are not great for me
Mhm.
in arm's reach.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
I don't buy, if I don't go by there, if I don't avoidance, if I, and it's not in a way of torture, but it's a choice of I'm not gonna go down this strip because there's another way home. Um, so since I plan on cooking, I can go this direction and keep that planning in place. I'm going to cook, even if I'm feeling a little tired, because going down the strip where there's easy food that's already done by somebody else, that's easy to do. But, I'm thinking, no, I do want to cook. I do want to put my own spin on it and make it my own.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and you said, I'm not going to go down this strip. There's another way. And I know you were talking about like literally.
Yes, I was.
But if you take that kind of metaphorically, right? Like that can be kind of your mantra of I'm not going down that road.
True.
I know what's down there. I know where it leads. There's another way.
True.
Yeah.
True.
And it goes back to like the planning is so key, just like Jane was talking about, because once you have the plan, then you can redirect to that. Because in the moment, there's always going to be, temptations. There's always going to be opportunities to, and again, right? It's not about being perfect all the time, but it's kind of experimenting and learning like, okay, and now the next time, and we can't always anticipate when something's going to get messed up, but the next time maybe you're taking a family member to an appointment, you can just know, okay, I probably need to stock up some healthy snacks in the car.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what we're going to do about the water, but
You're not going to do anything.
At least the healthy snacks. Yeah. Yeah. And also trying to look at it as like, because it sounds like what you're doing is you're going someplace and you're like, oh, this is I don't get to this town very often. And I really like the chicken here. And so it's those geographic cues too, right? We talked about, Sabrina and I have worked together. So we talked about like that cue behavior reward. The cue is like, I'm coming into this town and I know there's that place with the really good chicken. And so it's almost on autopilot. Like you can end up halfway through the drumstick before you even know what happened.
Right.
But you got to interrupt that, right? So start looking for, is there some place in town that has good salads? And then maybe when you get to that town, the cue is, oh, there's that vegan place that's kind of weird, but they have like really good salads. So maybe I'll go there. So, right, in your day-to-day life, it sounds like you've got like your patterns really well set up. But then when you start to go someplace you haven't been in a while, those bad habits are there.
Correct. That's true.
Lurking, sort of waiting for you. I think we talked about this, but it's a good story for everybody else who's listening so it's been about a year since I started going through all the weight loss training materials. And during that time, I had not done really any road tripping because it's been a weird time. Most of us have been at home a lot. So but I decided as things started to calm down, I needed to go check on my parents. So I got in the car and stopped for gas. And I have this, the cue behavior reward, that habit loop of when I stop for gas, I go to the bathroom. And I was not consciously aware of this, but there was some old programming there. Cause like as I'm walking into the gas station, kind of the doors are starting to part in front of me, this little voice says, get the peanut M&Ms. Like what? And I don't buy peanut M&Ms like at home. Even if today I were to buy some chocolate, it would be like the good chocolate. It wouldn't be peanut M&Ms. But I clearly had like an old program just sitting there for me to push the button of going into a gas station that said, when I go to a gas station, I get peanut M&Ms.
Right.
So it's the same thing, right? So you get like your day-to-day, your normal routine going, but then you go on vacation and you don't have any like new programs for how do I, as a skinny, healthy person, go on vacation? How do I, as somebody who's trying to eat healthy, go to what town was it? Was it El Dorado?
Yes.
Okay, because we talked about the chicken in El
Yes.
Dorado another day.
Yeah.
I'm not psychic. I just remembered.
Yeah,
Right.
it was
So we
El
just
Dorado.
kind of know. And again, it doesn't mean you can't ever have it again, but
True.
maybe you say, you know what, right now, my primary focus is on weight loss. So I'm going to make it a challenge before I go to El Dorado the next time. I'm going to look and see like what restaurants might have healthier choices, even if it's a steakhouse, right? Like a steak with some asparagus or some broccoli
Mhm.
might be a better choice than the fried chicken. Or I'm going to get the fried chicken this time, and then I'm not getting fried chicken again for 6 months, you know, whatever it is.
And I don't think I've had fried chicken since then.
There you go. Okay. So kind of figure out like how long, like I'll go again, like July of 2022, I'll go again or whatever it is. But for X amount of time, I'm going to give myself a pause and I'm going to find another alternative.
Right.
And then you're creating a new program of the cue
Right.
is I'm going to El Dorado. The behavior is I could have chicken or I could go to that really, and I don't know, there's probably not a vegan place in El Dorado, but you never know until you look. Even
It's possible. It's possible.
yeah, even some of the fast food places like Chick-fil-A has a pretty good salad. So, you know,
Wendy's.
there you go. Yeah. So
Yeah,
there's
they
some
have,
options out there. So yeah, but I would say just kind of forgive yourself for what happened and reset and carry on. So, all right. Anybody else? I know we got a couple of other folks on the line. Anybody else want to like come on camera and get coached? If so, just turn your camera on, unmute yourself, wave at me, or you can raise your hand in Zoom. I think Kat said she was going to be quote unquote not camera ready. So I won't put her on the spot, but just give people a moment. So, all right, I think we're good. And I really appreciate y'all being brave and doing this publicly, but I think it's so helpful. Well, and let me ask you, Sabrina, when Jane was getting coached, did her problem seem as serious to you as it did to her? Yeah, you could see it. You're like,
yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
So even when you're not the one getting coached, like you can still take from it, right? Some of the strategies and things. Oh, Kat says yes, she's listening, but she can't participate today. She also told me she was painting, which is really cool. So, all right, any last minute questions before I jump back over to the slides?
I don't have any.
Cool. I'm going to share my screen again then. And there's just a couple more. I won't show the donut lady again. All right. So what we covered today. Oh, I actually might. Let's see. Start from beginning. Start the show. No, I don't want to do that. Maybe I'll just leave it like this so we don't have to look at the donut lady. All right. So what we covered today. I think the biggest thing, right? It's not necessarily people kind of ask me, they're like, well, I want to lose weight. What do I eat? What do I need to do? What is your diet plan? And I kind of believe everybody has a pretty good understanding. I do share some tips and things that I've learned, but I think everybody kind of knows, right? We probably know it's not cake. We probably know it's more like fruits and vegetables. Everybody kind of knows what to do. The hard part is, how do we create good habits and how do we break the bad habits? And that's exactly what I help clients with. The other thing, which we didn't talk about today, but you know, that'll give you something to learn if you sign up for the program. Your hormones actually play more of a role in weight loss than is commonly understood. And we have control over our hormones, not just with what we eat and with how much we eat, but also with when we eat. So that's something I usually talk to my clients about as well is, you know, if we're constantly telling our hormones, let's be in fat storage mode, and we never get out of fat storage mode, then we can't switch into fat burning mode. And so, of course, right? So when you're like, I'm doing all the things, I'm not losing any weight, we got to let our hormones get to a point where they start accessing the fat on our body as fuel instead of what we're eating. So we talk about that. We talked a little bit today about how your brain is the most important piece of the puzzle. And you can really see that when you have that thought of, I'm about to mess up, or I've already messed up, then you get more messing up. But when you can kind of break that and say, okay, I've messed up, these things happen, right? Exactly like we would with kids. Like, okay, you fell off your bike, it hurts. Like, let's patch you up now. Let's get back on the bike, get back on the horse, whatever it is, and, reset. We still have the long-term goal. This one incident or this 1 week is not an end of the world thing. So then the question becomes, do we want to take action, make a change, or do we want to maintain the status quo? So some questions, concerns, complaints that I usually hear from people, all of which are understandable, but which I'm going to try to reassure you about. One is 10 pounds isn't enough. And I get it, but I can guarantee no matter how much you have to lose, the first amount you have to lose is like the first 10 pounds, right? So you have to start with the first pound, regardless of whether you want to lose 10 pounds total or 50 pounds total or 100 pounds total, right? You got to start with the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the idea is, once you start to learn how to create good habits, how to break bad habits, once you start to see how my thoughts are running a lot of this, then you can either re-up and we can go through it again if you need ongoing support, or you can take what you've learned and run with it. But you got to start at the beginning, no matter what. The other question is sort of like, is this keto? Is this compatible with Weight Watchers? Does this work with X, Y, and Z? Right? Again, this is going to be compatible with whatever you're doing that's working. And so you don't have to switch to any specific diet plan, religion. We're going to work together to develop a protocol that works for you. So if keto is working for you, you can keep ketoing. I'm not going to like force carbs on you. If you're vegetarian, you're vegan, whatever your rules are, it's totally okay. It's about supporting you and making healthy choices more of the time versus trying to, undermine something that you feel like it's worth it, something that you feel like is working. The third big concern is timing. I can't do it now because the kids are out of school. I won't be able to do it in September because the kids will be going back to school. I can't do it in October because of Halloween, November because of Thanksgiving, December because of the holidays, right? Like, there's always something. If you're waiting for all the lights to be green on the highway before you leave the house, it's just not going to happen. So it's really a matter of just making a commitment, making a decision, starting where you are, and we'll work around the birthdays and the holidays and all of those kind of things. It's not a problem, but there's always something. There's always a reason not to do it. So don't let that be the thing that stops you. Cost. Now, it has come to my attention that most people do not have a special savings account called Money for Lisa that was just sitting there waiting for me to ask for it. I think everyone should, but surprisingly, nobody does. But here's what I've found, because I think I mentioned to you guys, I started off as a money coach. And that, now just because I'm focused on weight loss now, that knowledge, that learning, that experience did not get removed. For most of my clients, actually, the program is kind of self-funding. And again, we're going to develop a plan that works for you. You're not required to do anything. But one of the first things my clients usually tell me is, for most people, part of the problem is restaurant meals. Well, dude, if you're going to cut back, not cut out, because I love a restaurant, I love to be waited on, I hate to cook. But let's say you're going out every Friday and Saturday night, and we cut back to every Friday night. How much money does that free up in the budget? Why not use that money to fund something that's going to help you lose weight and be healthy, right? So we're like directly stealing money from the thing that got us overweight and using it to fund the thing that's going to help us lose weight. So it really doesn't require any extra money. It just requires a different allocation of the money that we're already spending. So a quick case study. He's not here, but Mr. Lisa, my husband, and he didn't go through like the whole training program, but he took one thing that I teach and lost 9 pounds in 6 weeks, which is annoying because guys always lose weight faster. But he was kind of my first case study of like, okay, it works for me. Can we take one of these suggestions and help him implement it and have it work for him? He then decided 9 pounds was plenty and he was done. I was kind of hoping we would get some momentum going, but that just is what it is. You can't control your spouse. I have been trying, but it doesn't work. One other case study, if I can, and you have the right to say no, Sabrina, but would you be willing to come on and obviously, right, it's been ups and downs, but would you be willing to come on and kind of share what your experience has been like?
Sure. Trying to find a mute button, unmute button. So my experience has definitely been twofold. I am down almost 20 pounds.
What?
And a lot of it is, and I wanted to do two things. I wanted to save on money, and help with weight loss. And definitely my mind used to say eating healthy was so much more expensive than eating out, because I could go to McDonald's, get a 4 for $4. I don't have to cook, and it's done. It's done deal, it's over with. But I didn't have anything for the next day. So a lot of it was portion control. I cut back. If I went out to eat, I only ate half of the meal and the other half for lunch. So I was kind of saving there. And I started cooking more at home, which made me have more meals prepared for the week. So that has definitely been a plus. So this has been really good. I still have more weight. My clothes are too big, obviously.
Yay!
So I haven't done much shopping. I went from a 20 wearing a 2X, and now I can wear a regular extra large. So that has been really great. All my t-shirts, I would always get 2X, and now I'm like, hey, just give me an extra large. So that has been very rewarding as well. And even though I will admit, even though the times that I jump off the bandwagon because I'm playing double dutch constantly, it feels like my mind is very conscious of what I'm eating. And if I do something bad, it's still sitting in my mind, bothering me until I do something better to correct what I've done. So yeah, and the coaching has definitely helped. The blogs are gentle reminders of ways to break habits. My thinking has definitely changed about life, my day-to-day life, that where food is incorporated in it, because we are a social, although COVID has kind of altered that, we are a social knit beings, and our celebrations are surrounded by food and alcohol. I cut that down too. That has really, really, really been cut down. But even when we are doing celebrations, that healthier choices can be made. So I even had a birthday party for my grandson, and instead of party food, because I love party food, I did a chicken salad, which was great. Got ready to go on the road, and I look up things of how long things can be stored or eaten. So instead of just boiling my eggs the morning of, if I choose to do that, I boil about 6 of them, and therefore they're ready. the onset just grab and go and just so the thinking, meeting my own challenges, um, have definitely just worked very well. And I am grateful and thankful that I have cut down on spending and eating out. So that has helped me a lot, and it makes me feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of this stuff, right? Like most of these ideas you came up with. I didn't tell you, like when you hard boil an egg, hard boil a bunch of them, like 98% of it, you came up with all the ideas. You came up with what you wanted to do.
Right.
But how can you talk just a little bit about how the coaching helped? Was it just like that little guilty niggle of, I'm going to have to talk about this week, so I'm just going to not do it? Or was it like learning how your thoughts affect what you're doing? Or can you talk just a little bit more about that?
Sure. Piece? Yeah. So the coaching part has definitely brought about accountability, because doing things on my own, I'm on my own time, I'm on my own schedule. You know, if I mess up, I just messed up on me, and you know, it's just me. But having a coach that I'm meeting with every week makes me be more conscious of what I'm doing, because I'm going to give a report. So I want a good report. And if I know this Zoom is on the other side, if I have to report something that's not so great, because of the accountability, I want to be able to say, hey, I messed up this day, but I got right back on. Or not being ashamed of saying, I messed up, I need help. What can we do? So the coaching part has definitely been great, because you make me step back, just pause for a moment. And that's what I tend to fail to do. I just keep going and going and going. But you invite me to pause and think things through. And sometimes, whereas I thought it was my schedule being messed up, but it really could be the dynamics of me not making appropriate decisions and planning ahead for things. So that part of the coaching is a plus. I needed that. I need it.
Fantastic. Well, I don't want to stop you while you're bragging on, I was going to say me, but it's really us, right? Because let me brag on you. And we're right at time, so I'm going to wrap up. But let me just kind of brag on you, because you had to show up every week, right? And you had to do stuff when I didn't come to your house and like slap the cookie out of your hand.
Right.
That's an extra fee. But you know, it really, you showed up every week and you were like ready to do the work. And you know, you said 20 pounds, that's since the middle of May. So that's a lot. So you were the one who had to make better choices. You had to bring your sneakers to work. You had to, you know, pay attention to, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Right. So, you know, I will say not everybody who started around the same time as you got the same results, but for the most part, it's the people that disappeared. So I had people, like one girl came twice, told me how much she loves Snickers, and then I haven't heard from her since. So maybe she's lost some weight. I hope that she has, but you know, and it's not that much time. It's 30 minutes a week. Wow. You know, most people waste way more time than that on Facebook. I say as I stream live to Facebook.
Guilty.
Right. But just making it, I think it's really making the commitment, even when like it's not feeling so good. I'm going to just come every week. We're going to talk it through. We're going to figure it out. And then you start getting some success, right? And there's ups and downs, just like everything else in life. But that success breeds success. And when we get into an oopsie, the quicker we can get out of that, the better off we will be. So, all right, I will let everybody go. If anybody is, I'm sorry, before I do that, let me try to sell you something. So I am offering this as a paid program. It's $8.97 for the 12-week program. Or if somebody wants to make payments, we can do 4 payments of $250, one at the beginning and then one a month as we go. And like I said, most of my clients, you know, if we're really being honest, $250 is $125 twice. And, you know, if you take a family of 4 out for dinner and you have appetizers and drinks and desserts, $125, you know, it depends where you go and what you buy, but that's definitely possible. So this might just be, you know, cutting out 2 big restaurant parties per month might be all it takes. But I know money is money, right? And we're all making choices about where we want to spend money. If we work together for 12 weeks and you don't lose weight, I'll just give you your money back. And that's a big risk for me. So, you know, I would hope that people show up not planning to get the refund, but planning to planning to make the effort, right? Because I don't want to waste my time or anybody else's. But you know, my goal is not to try to get rich people ripping people off. My goal is not to be tricky. This worked for me. My husband's had results. Sabrina's had some results. So I feel like if people show up, you know, they will get results. And if they don't, I'll give you your money back. And PS, by the way, if you don't trust me to do that, you can dispute the charge on your credit card and the bank will probably get you your money back. So you've got an extra safety. So, you know, the only thing you have to lose is the weight. I would definitely invite anybody who's interested, send me an email, lisa@lisaduke.net. If you want to talk about it further, lisaduke.net/schedule. You can book a time to come and talk to me for free. We'll do a little goal setting session. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? And out of that, where do you want to be conversation, you'll put together a plan for what you would need to do to lose weight. And if you don't want to work with me, you can take that and run with it. That 45-minute meeting will still be valuable. There'll be a takeaway that you get out of that. If we have that conversation, do the goal setting, and you're like, this all sounds good, but I think I'm going to need some help, then, you know, we'll go through any questions you have, any concerns, and get you started. But, you know, that was what I think our first call was May 14th. So 2.5 months. So 2.5 months from now would be August, September, middle of October. So somebody could start today, and this is not a guarantee. Everybody's got different amounts to lose. But if you do exactly what Sabrina did, 20 pounds down by Thanksgiving, or sorry, by Halloween, just don't gain it all back on the candy. But we'll coach through that as well. So anyway, I'm way over time and I know folks have other things to do, so I will let y'all go. But thank you so much for joining, and let me know if I can be of service down the road.
Sure.
Bye.
Bye-bye.